Hello class, today is Tuesday, September 15th. I have just graded the famous person's speeches, so go in and look at your grade. Make sure you guys are checking out the rubric as that breaks down the point value and tells you exactly what you got taken off for. We are coming up on our last two speeches. These are our most major speeches of the class as they are worth 130 points apiece. So I just wanted to give you guys a quick rundown of these two speeches. So first, our informative speech. It is 3 to 5 minutes. It needs to be on a topic you haven't done yet, so don't give a repeat speech of a topic you've already done before. But the difference with this one is that you have to have a source, and you have to attribute that source in your speech. So look at the example, but you'll notice that in the speech, he says, according to, or in an article in Times Magazine, it states that you have to have that in your speech, and you have to have it cited at the bottom of your plan page. So let's say you find a source, and you type up your plan page, and you write it, and you don't say it in your speech, then you have not met the requirements. So let's say that your source is Times Magazine, and you find that article and you plug that into your speech somewhere. Now remember, I want you writing this speech. This is not a research paper. This is a speech with a research component. So you are not required to have much research. So I want you to find that source and back up what you've already said, what you've already written. So you'll cite that at the bottom, and then you will attribute that. In an article in Times Magazine, it states that. According to WebMD.com, it states that. You have to make sure your source is credible, no Wikipedia, no blogs by random people. So make sure that you use your knowledge that you have to determine whether or not the source is credible, and if you have any questions on it, just email me and I'll tell you whether or not your source is credible or not. But that is the main requirement. So if you turn in your speech and you don't, or your plan page, and you don't have your source in there, then I'm going to give you a 0 on it for you to redo. So with the informative speech, that's 3 to 5 minutes, you have to have one source. With your persuasive, that's 4 to 6, you have to have 2 sources. So those are our last two speeches coming up. Both of them require a visual aid, a multimedia presentation, meaning you cannot hold up a poster board or just hold up an object. This is not a personal object speech. So you have to make sure that you prepare for this. You can use Prezi. A lot of people are using Prezi. I think Prezi is more modern than PowerPoint, so you can do either one. Make sure that we can see it. Now, in the examples, it shows being blown up on the wall, and that's great. If you have those means, that's fantastic. If not, then just be by a computer, by a laptop. But just make sure you're standing up and not sitting down for our formal presentations. So make sure you stand up for that. Make sure that you play it from the beginning if you're using a PowerPoint, meaning you'll go to slideshow and then from beginning, because if not, you'll see all the little slides on the side and it doesn't take up the whole page. So when you go in there, you'll see that and see what I'm talking about. Make sure you have a combination of font and pictures. You don't want an overwhelming amount of either one. You want a nice balance of font and pictures. So you need to have between 5 and 7 slides. Be consistent with your font style, size, color. Make sure we can see it. Don't change it to anything fancy. Don't make it busy. Make sure you have a background, and make sure you have that transition between your speech and the visual aid. So I just wanted to give you guys a reminder on this. You need to get your topics approved, especially for the persuasive, because you have to make sure you're arguing something that has 2 sides, meaning you cannot argue not to drink and drive or text and drive, because people may do it, but they know they shouldn't. There's no argument for drinking and driving or texting and driving. Whatever it is your argument is, it has to have 2 sides. So make sure you're reading the directions, as there is a list of things you cannot do. So make sure that you read that. Can't do abortion, can't do legalizing marijuana. There's a whole list of things that you can't do. Stay away from the cliched topics such as the death penalty unless you have a legitimate reason for doing it. You have to establish that credibility in the introduction. That's for both the informative speech and your persuasive. So make sure that you're picking topics that you care about. So first one that we're doing now, informative, you are strictly just informing, nothing persuasive. The persuasive, you have to make sure that you have a topic that has two sides to it. So that is why you have to get your topic approved, because if not, you may write a whole entire speech, do your research, have your plan page submitted, and the topic may not work, and then you're going to start over from scratch and be really unhappy that you have to do that right at the end. So you can bypass all of that and just get your topic approved. I'll leave this video up for a while, probably till the end of the semester, and so just a reminder, you have to get your topics approved. I respond to emails very quickly, so just shoot me an email. A couple of you already have, and tell me what you're wanting to argue. What side of the issue are you on? Why do you want to give this speech? And what's your credibility with this? So just a reminder, we only have 2 speeches left, so that's the purpose of this one. Make sure you have that source, cite it at the bottom of your plan page, attribute it in your speech. 1 source for the informative, 2 for the persuasive. Both require a visual aid, PowerPoint or Prezi presentation. So if you have questions, then let me know. And 2 more speeches.